The world you know is a mistake. The wars, the superpowers, even the borders on the map, none of it was supposed to happen. Because if the Ottoman Empire had never fallen, history would have taken a completely different course. No World War I as we know it, no artificial borders tearing the Middle East apart, no Western dominance shaping global politics. Instead, Istanbul, not Washington or Beijing, might have been the capital of the world. This isn't some alternate fantasy. It's a version of reality that was only a few decisions away. And by the end of this video, you'll see just how close we were to a world ruled by the Ottomans. Historical context. The Ottoman Empire was one of the longest-lasting and most powerful empires in history, spanning over 600 years and controlling vast territories across Europe, the Middle East, and North Africa. Imagine an empire that bridged continents, where the pulse of global trade and diplomacy beat from the heart of Istanbul. The Ottoman Empire wasn't just a historical footnote, it was a magnificent civilization that dominated 3 continents for over 6 centuries, ruling 30 million people at its peak and reshaping the world's political landscape. At its peak in the 16th and 17th centuries, the Ottomans were more than a military powerhouse. They were masters of cultural integration, governing a diverse tapestry of peoples, Turks, Arabs, Greeks, Armenians, under a remarkable system that granted remarkable autonomy while maintaining imperial unity. Their strategic position was their greatest weapon. Straddling Europe, Asia, and Africa, they controlled the crucial Bosporus Strait, the critical gateway between the Black Sea and Mediterranean. What if they had adapted? The empire's potential was immense. The Industrial Revolution created a technological divide that ultimately contributed to their decline, but alternative paths existed. Had they embraced large-scale industrialization and reformed their military and economic structures, the Ottomans could have remained a global superpower. Their fatal diplomatic misstep in World War I, aligning with Germany, could have been avoided through strategic neutrality or alliance with Britain and France. The empire's true strength lay in its multicultural governance. Their decentralized system allowed different ethnic groups to coexist, a model that could have evolved into a modern federal state. By modernizing national unity policies and continuously adapting, they might have prevented the nationalist uprisings that ultimately fractured their territories. Historians like Carter Finley suggest that institutional transformation is far more complex than technological adaptation. The Ottomans would have faced significant challenges, managing internal tensions, navigating global power dynamics, and continuously modernizing their vast, diverse institutions. Had they succeeded, the map of the world, from the Middle East to Eastern Europe, might look dramatically different today. Alternate geopolitical landscape. Had the Ottoman Empire never fallen, the world map would look completely different. Picture a world where the lines on the map tell a radically different story. Had the Ottoman Empire survived, the geopolitical landscape would be unrecognizable, a tapestry of interconnection rather than fragmentation. The artificial borders that carved up the Middle East after World War I, those arbitrary lines that spawned decades of conflict, would never have existed. Instead of the fragmented nation-states we know today, a unified Ottoman administration could have potentially prevented the sectarian violence that has defined the region's modern history. But let's be clear, survival wouldn't have been a magical solution. Imperial administrations are complex beasts, often creating their own internal tensions. The Ottomans would have faced monumental challenges in maintaining cohesion across their vast, diverse territories. The most profound transformation would have been stopping European colonial ambitions dead in their tracks. The infamous Sykes-Picot Agreement, where Britain and France secretly divided Ottoman lands, laid the groundwork for today's geopolitical chaos. Without the empire's collapse, there would have been no arbitrary borders splitting ethnic and religious groups, no puppet regimes, and potentially no prolonged conflicts like the Israeli-Palestinian crisis. Imagine Istanbul, not London or Washington, as a global power center. The Ottomans would have been more than a Middle Eastern power. They would have been a global diplomatic bridge. During the Cold War, they could have played a crucial balancing role between the West and Soviet Union. The European Union might have looked completely different, potentially even including a reformed Ottoman state. The Ottomans were no strangers to challenging European expansion. From resisting Portuguese influence in the Indian Ocean to confronting British and French forces in North Africa, they consistently pushed back against colonial powers. A modernized, intact Ottoman Empire could have fundamentally altered the trajectory of global colonization. Instead of a world dominated by Western superpowers, we might have seen a truly multipolar global order, with Istanbul at its heart, a center of diplomacy, trade, and cultural exchange. Technological and cultural implications. A surviving Ottoman Empire wouldn't have just reshaped geopolitics, it would have dramatically altered the trajectory of science, technology, and culture. Imagine a world where the pulse of global innovation beats from Istanbul, not Silicon Valley. The Ottoman Empire wasn't just a political entity, it was a potential technological powerhouse that could have reshaped human progress. For centuries, Islamic scholars were the world's intellectual pioneers. Mathematics, medicine, astronomy. These fields flourished under Islamic intellectual traditions. The Ottomans were the inheritors of this brilliant legacy, maintaining centers of learning that challenged the most prestigious European institutions. In an alternate timeline, breakthrough technologies in engineering, medicine, and even space exploration might have originated from Ottoman research centers instead of Western laboratories. Modernization doesn't mean Westernization. The Ottomans could have charted a unique technological path, blending industrial progress with Islamic principles. While Western nations underwent chaotic industrial revolutions, the Ottomans might have developed a more measured, state-controlled approach to innovation. Picture a technological evolution that integrates economic reforms with deeply rooted administrative systems, an alternative model of progress that could have rivaled capitalism and communism. Beyond technology, the cultural implications would have been revolutionary. The Ottoman Empire was a remarkable crucible of diversity, a place where Turkish, Arab, Persian, Greek, Armenian, and Balkan cultures didn't just coexist, but intermingled. Instead of Hollywood dictating global narratives, Ottoman cultural centers might have shaped global trends in literature, cinema, and digital media. Intellectual traditions would have transformed dramatically. Where Western philosophy and Enlightenment ideals shaped modern governance, an Ottoman-influenced model might have emerged, a fascinating fusion of Islamic governance, meritocracy, and state-driven development. Imagine political ideologies that more deeply integrated spirituality with democratic principles. Of course, this isn't a simplistic utopian vision. Technological progress is never linear. The Ottomans would have faced significant challenges, maintaining competitive edge, adapting continuously, and potentially confronting resistance from conservative institutional structures. But the most profound possibility? A world of dual innovation, where the Ottoman Empire stands as an equal counterweight to Western technological power, leading humanity into a more balanced, nuanced era of human achievement. Modern global scenario. If the Ottoman Empire had never fallen, the world of 2025 would be unrecognizable. Picture a world where Istanbul, not Washington or Beijing, sets the global agenda. In this alternate 2025, the Ottoman Empire isn't a relic of history. It's a living, breathing superpower that has transformed the very fabric of international relations. Imagine a political system that defies traditional categorization, a constitutional monarchy where elected assemblies coexist with imperial governance. Stretching from the Balkans to the Arabian Peninsula, this modern Ottoman state would be a masterclass in adaptive governance. The Tanzimat reforms of the 19th century would have blossomed into a unique political model, blending Islamic principles with parliamentary democracy. Socially, the empire would be a beacon of multicultural coexistence. Where modern Middle Eastern states struggle with ethnic and religious divisions, the Ottoman millet system would have evolved into a sophisticated model of pluralism. Different communities would maintain cultural and religious autonomy under a unified administrative umbrella, a radical alternative to the fractured nation-states we know today. Technologically, Istanbul would rival Silicon Valley. Strategic investments in education would transform Turkish universities into global innovation hubs. Artificial intelligence, biotechnology, renewable energy, these cutting-edge sectors would bear the Ottoman stamp. Instead of following Western technological paradigms, the empire would forge its own path of innovation, integrating technological progress with deep-rooted cultural principles. On the world stage, the Ottomans would be the ultimate diplomatic power broker. Where Western interventions have fueled conflict in the Middle East, a unified Ottoman administration could prevent wars before they begin. Imagine a diplomatic coalition that challenges NATO and the UN, uniting the Middle East, North Africa, and parts of Europe under a single economic and security framework. Of course, this isn't a fairy tale of perfect transformation. Historical evolution is messy and unpredictable. The Ottoman Empire would face enormous challenges: internal political reforms, managing cultural diversity, navigating increasingly complex global dynamics. But the most compelling possibility? A world where global power isn't a Western monopoly, but a truly multipolar landscape, with Istanbul at its heart, proving that great civilizations don't just fall, they evolve. Conclusion. While this alternate history represents one possible trajectory, it underscores the profound contingency of historical development. The Ottoman Empire's potential survival illustrates how minor diplomatic, technological, or strategic shifts could fundamentally reshape global systems. This exploration reminds us that history is not predetermined, but a complex interplay of human choices, technological innovations, and geopolitical adaptations. That's all for today. If you have enjoyed this video, don't forget to show some love by hitting that like and subscribe button and follow for more.